What's going on, YouTube? Double Up 248 here, and today I'm here with the deck profile for you guys. We just had the most recent event clan, Spike Brothers. Uh, but this is not a Spike Brothers video. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, if you're a Spike Brothers fan, I'll have to come up with something for you. But today I'm going to be showcasing what I believe to be the best version of GRANBLUE currently. Now let's get started. So, GRANBLUE. As a clan, it's kind of, on the weaker side, obviously, GRANBLUE gets a lot of flack, rightfully so. A lot of people like to down talk GRANBLUE. It is what it is, GRANBLUE just so happens to be one of my favorite clans in the game right now. I like all the new clans and stuff, but I don't know, man. It's just something about those pirates, man. But yeah, so I'm just gonna go over this deck with you guys here. So confirm the deck. I'll give you all a second to look it over and inspect it. That's one thing I like to do, like when I get on, when I do my dailies and stuff, like when I get on the discussion board. I like to look at the builds, obviously, and see if I can pretty much determine like your end goal based on like what you post, like if that makes sense. Yeah, so basically I just like to look at the deck, analyze it, examine it, examine your card choices, and see what you like to play or what other people like to play. But yeah, so let's get started here. So we'll start with the grade 3s. So your main grade 3 right here is the boy. This is the boy Kokitis. Now they kind of did my boy dirty. They could have made him 11K. Essentially he's a triple rare Garmar clone, which it kind of sucks to say, but it is kind of true. However, I'll say this: he in GRANBLUE, Kokitis works better in GRANBLUE than Garmar works better in Golds. So, yeah. But I mean, 1,000 attack, 1K would have been nice. It is what it is, though. But yeah, Kokitis, he's your main ride. His skill is limit break 4. When this unit attacks the Vanguard, it gets plus 5K until the end of turn. And when the unit is placed, counter blast 2 to call a card from your drop zone. Now, the thing with this deck is that counter blast 2, it's nothing. Trust me, that counter blast 2 in this deck, it is nothing. More often than not, it'll be a counter blast 1 because of the choices we play and how we play this deck. So essentially, you can think of that as counter blast 1. But yeah, Kokitis, he's the main go-to. He's your main ride. And then let's see, we'll move over here to the Master Swordsman, Nightstorm. He's your quote-unquote backup ride. If you happen to miss Kokitis, you want Nightstorm to be your backup ride. He's just a 12K attacker. Nothing special. This one slot, it's a flex slot, so essentially you can run whatever you want right here. I just happen to run the Nightstorm. I was running Basskirk, but Basskirk really doesn't work in this deck because Basskirk, his skill is that Soul Blast, Counter Blast. Like it's way too heavy on price, especially for what you're getting out of it. Like we don't want that. We're good on that. So yeah, that's why we just played the 1-up Nightstorm. And then let's see, for the other grade 3s, we got, look at him, we got Thanatos. So Thanatos, his skill is when this unit attack hits a Vanguard, counter blast 1 and retire it to call another card other than Thanatos from your drop zone. So Thanatos is your main combo extender. You want to draw into him sometimes. Other times you just want him to be your draw trigger. It is what it is. But like I said, Thanatos, if you get him in hand, hold on to him. Like I said, he is your main combo extender. How we play this deck, and if you play it right, you can have 3-4 attacks in the same turn. Sometimes 5. If you play it right. But we'll have to see if we can showcase that in a duel sometime. Yeah. I decided to make this a 2-part video, just for the fact that I'm recording this on my phone, so I don't have much memory on my on my SD card. But it is what it is. Yeah, we'll make it happen. But yeah, for the final grade 3 slot, our heal trigger, the man, Monster Frank. Now, let me tell you why you run Frank, and not anything else like Witch Doctor or Night Spirit, Spirit Seed, whatever. You want Monster Frank as your heal. And I don't know why I didn't think of this a long time ago, but I was running what is his name? Let's have a peek real quick. Here it is. Skull Dragon. Duh. I was running Skull Dragon as the heal. I would switch back and forth between Skull Dragon and the Witch Doctor. But the reason I went with Frank was because of Frank's skill. So, looking at Frank's skill, if your Vanguard is grade 2, you can counterblast 3 to ride this card and draw a card. And then if he's in your hand, you can discard him from your hand and add a Childe Frank from your deck to your hand. Now, the reason we run Frank as the heal is because in most decks, when you draw into your heals, unless you're able to put them back, they're essentially dead in your hand. Until you're able to ride up into a grade 3 and eventually, call it down or whatever. But in our case, even though we can't put Frank back into the deck, we can still get something out of Frank. We can still get a free booster. So more often than not, whenever I draw into Frank, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna pitch him. I'm gonna pitch him for Childe Frank, so I can get a free booster for 1 and thin the deck out. And that's the whole excuse me, the whole ploy with this deck. You want to try to outlast your opponent, and that's exactly what this deck is built to do. And what we also want to be doing is we want to be deck thinning, but we want it to be very selective. We want to be able to control what actually goes into the drop zone instead of just, randomly, blindly milling cards. Like, you know, that's not what we want to do. That's not the end goal. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the grade 3s. For the grade 2s, we got 4 of the 3-star Chef Pietro. You know, simple. When it's using attack hits of Vanguards, counter charge 1. Pietro is super useful in this deck. Like, when I say super, like super useful. Because more often than not, we are going to be swinging our Vanguard, Kokitis, into our opponent's rear guard. Now, the reason we can do that is because we play 9 draws. So, we don't lose anything by swinging in the rear. Unlike, you know, say if you were to play crits, you know, for instance, you're going to be wanting to swing Vanguard into Vanguard. Like, you know, so you can get that crit. Like, that's pretty obvious. But in this case, we're playing 9 draws, so our goal is to swing Vanguard in the rear and give all our effects to our rear columns. Mainly, you know, Pietro and all of our other grade 2s or whatever. But yeah, Pietro, you're going to be using Pietro a lot, and you're going to countercharge a lot because of that, you know, because you're swinging Vanguard in the rear. And it helps you outlast and hold on to your resources and keep, you know, using the same resource. You don't have to keep using them up. You get a counter charge. Now, see, unlike Curse, well, not Curse Lancer, because most shadows they run 9 draw. But I still don't see a lot of players do that, like swing Vanguard in the rear, playing shadows, just so they can use like Curse Lancer. But, you know, if I was running a shadow build, then, you know, I would definitely do that. You know, have the 9 draws and everything. But unlike Pietro, say for instance, or Curse Lancer, say Tripp. Tripp, perfect example. Tripp for gold paladins. So the thing with golds is to make golds, like, I guess the best version of golds as can be, you want to be running 9 crit. Like, it's just inherent from what I've, you know, observed playing the game. So you're going to be wanting to swing Ezel into the Vanguard. So, you know, Tripp, he's essentially wasted unless your opponent has, like, you know, 1 intercept or something. Like, then you can use Tripp and get your counter charge, but you don't really get to use it that often. And, you know, that's just one thing that, you know, this deck gives us that flexibility to have. And then for the other grade 2s, we run 2 Commodore Blue Blood. He's a 10k vanilla, you know, 10k vanillas is always nice. They solid walls, you know, more often than not, they're going to have to commit a booster to kill him. You know, he comes in handy. Then we got 1 ship. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, you're going to be getting a lot of mileage out of this ship. A lot of mileage. That's exactly why we only play 1. Because this ship, just like everything else in this deck, it comes back. Then for the remaining grade 2s, we got obviously the MVP of the deck, Captain Night Mist. So his skill is during your turn, if Night Mist is in your drop zone, you get 3k. So he's 11k attacker. And then in the drop zone, you can counterblast 1, retire rear guard, and cause a scar. So Night Mist is really good for our defensive plays, like keeping up our wall, essentially. Like, essentially, you should have 2 intercepts pretty much every single turn. So the only way that you should ever lose is if you get crit, or your intercepts get sealed. Like, you know, like any deck that can do that, like Kagero with Blockade, that big middle finger, and like Narukami that can just seal your intercepts, like, you know, those are going to be your tougher matchups. And MLB, obviously, like, you know, it's MLB. But other than that, like, everything else, like, you're pretty much good. Like, you really don't have to worry about too much. You should always have 2 intercepts on board pretty much at all times. And that's the great thing about this deck. And then for the remaining grade 2 slot, we run 2 Ruin Shade. All I got is 2. It is what it is. But I feel like 2 is like the perfect number to have. If I had more, I probably wouldn't even run more, to be honest. Yeah, Ruin Shade, he's just too, or excuse me, she's just too crazy for what we're trying to do. Like, yeah, she's an 11k attacker, but you have to mill 2 cards, like, you know. And like I said, that's not what we're trying to do in this deck. You know, we're trying to mill selectively, not randomly. But I feel like two works out, you know, nice. If I get her in hand, I usually hold on to her, like, you know, until towards the end of the, you know, game, when I've seen most of my triggers. Then I'm like, all right, now I'll put her down. But yeah, I mean, she's nice to have though. 11k attacker. You know, you can never have, you know, enough of those. Just trying to hit numbers. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of Vanguard. Hit numbers. But yeah, on to the grade 1s. We've got 4 Chappie. You know, everybody knows Chappie. Everybody knows what Chappie does. Place Chappie down, you can put any card in the grave. Yeah, that's all we need. You know. So Chappie helps set up your plays. He's an absolute 4 of. Like, you gotta run 4 Chappie. Have to. Like, yeah, there's no negotiating. I mean, you could probably wiggle by with 3, but, you know, we want to get that meal going. You know, get that deck thinned out. So 4 is the way to go. Then we got 4 PGs, of course. And then for the other 2 grade 1s, I'm choosing to run 4 Child Franks, just because of, you know, Frank's skill. If you get Frank in hand, you want to be able to maximize Frank as much as possible. So you want to run 4 Child Franks, you know, just so you can maximize your deck thinning, if you will. You know, if you keep drawing your heals and keep drawing your heals, which that is the thing in this game. Like, you know, it's not as bad because we can get rid of it for something and thin our deck out at the same time. And then for the final grade 1 slot, we're running 1 Ripple Banshee. This is a flex slot too. Like, you can run pretty much whatever you want. I just like Ripple Banshee just because of the effect. You know, when placed, one of other units gets 2k. So Banshee, she combos really well with Thanatos. So what you'll want to do, like, you want to play down a Banshee and give the power to Thanatos, and more often than not, you're gonna want to swing Thanatos into your opponent's Vanguard, and, you know, and then call something from the grave. That's like your main combo extender. So, like, if your opponent has 2 intercepts on board, you can still get 2 attacks in that turn. You know. But yeah, you can run more Banshee if you want. I just like Banshee as a 1-of. If I decide to cut a Frank, which I doubt, you know, I want to have as many searches as possible, then I'd probably want to run 1 more Banshee. But yeah, other than that though, like I said, it's a flex slot. It's up to you, whatever you want to put in there. And then oh yeah, can't forget the Forerunner, Captain Night Kid. when he brought upon, you know, move it to a rear guard. And his skill is you can put this into your soul, look at the top 10, and put one card in the drop zone. I don't really use his skill that often. He's more of just like a free meal, or excuse me, he's more like free fodder, like tribute fodder for Night Mist. But every now and then, like a situation will pop up where, like, you know, you want to use him because you want to get something engraved, like, you know, a Night Mist or your ship or whatever. But yeah, he's just nice to have. You know, nice little 5K booster. You just be back there chilling most of the time though. Unless Night Mist has to come back, and then, you know, you just poof. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the deck. Like I said, it's gonna be a 2-part video. This is, you know, just a breakdown and everything. But I have some gameplay up here soon, hopefully. But yeah, until then, I hope you guys enjoyed. As I say, just keep checking back for more content.